Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to Career Launcher. My name is Naveen, and today we'll be looking at MICAT QA must do questions, and this is part 3 of the series. So, MICAT is there on the 25th, the coming Saturday. So, I hope everyone who is preparing for MICAT-II, you guys are ready. Okay. So, let's see how much you have prepared, how much ready you are. Let's start with the questions for the day. So, the age of the mother is 30 years more than her daughter's age. 10 years hence, the mother's age will become 3 times the daughter's age at that time. What is the daughter's present age in years? So basically, this is a question which is based on ages. Okay. So let's see if anyone is able to come up with the answer. I'll wait for a minute or two after every question. So I'll give you a hint. You can use options. You can write equations. Okay. So let's try to solve this. Let's use equation approach. Okay. So age of the mother is 30 years more than her daughter's age. So let's say the daughter's age is D, then the mother's age is going to be D plus 30. Then the second equation tells us 10 years hence. 10 years hence, the mother's age is going to be M plus 10. The daughter's age is going to be D plus 10. The mother's age will become 3 times the daughter's age. What is the daughter's present age in years? So basically, we have to eliminate the value of the variable M. Okay, it will be a wastage of time if we eliminate the variable D, because that's exactly what is asked. Since daughter's present age is asked, so we have to calculate the value of D. So what we can do is we can straight away subtract. Let's call this as a first equation and this as the second equation. So second equation minus first equation will give us our LHS as 10. And our RHS is 3D plus 30 and it is D plus 30. So 3D plus 30 minus D plus 30 is going to be 2D. And this will give us the value of D is equal to 5. So that becomes our answer. Or we could have used the options as well. If we use the options and if we start with option A, if we consider daughter's age to be 5, then mother's age is supposed to be 30 years more. So mother's age is supposed to be 35. 10 years hence, mother's age will increase by 10, daughter's age will increase by 10. It is given that the mother's age is going to be 3 times of daughter's age, which perfectly fits. So once you get an option which is giving you the answer as, or satisfying the conditions given in the question, you should not go ahead and check others, because only one of the options is supposed to be correct, right? Okay, let's look at the next one. I'll give you guys again a couple of minutes. Good question, right? Okay, so we have a class of 80 students, right? So we have got 80 students. Now, out of these 80 students, 40% of 80 is going to be 32. So these 32 students, they play cricket. 50% of 80 students, that's 40 students, they play football. And 30% of 80 students, that's 24 students, they play table tennis. So if you add all these numbers, we'll find that this is more than 80, which tells us that there are certain students who play, football and cricket, or maybe there are some students who play all the three. There may be some students who do not play any of the games, right? Because it's nowhere mentioned that each student out of those 80 students in the class, they play at least one of the games. Now, it is given that 5 students, they play, let's call it only football and table tennis. Then we need to maximize the number of students who play cricket and table tennis. So it doesn't say both. So what we are going to do is we are going to represent this in a very different format. We are going to use cricket or draw the number of students, represent the number of students using red. Cricket is going to be red. Football is going to be blue, and table tennis is going to be pink. Okay. So basically, we have a total of 80 students here. Let's say they are standing in a queue, right? Now, out of these 80 students, these three, they are nothing like but tokens. So we have 32 red color tokens, 40 blue color tokens, 24 pink color tokens. Now, five students, they are going to get football, that is blue color tokens, and table tennis, that's pink color tokens. And we need to find out how many red and pink color tokens we can maximize that. So uh, since out of 40 that play football and 24 that play table tennis, so what we can do is we can say that five of them play football, so that's blue color. Five of them play table tennis, so that's pink color. So, which basically means that we are left with 35 football and we are left with 19 table tennis, right? Now, we need to find out how many of them play cricket and table tennis, right? So, cricket and table tennis, what we can do is we can look at the values here, which is 19 and 32. So can we say here very safely that we are going to have a total of 19 students who are going to play table tennis, and we do have enough number of students who are going to play cricket. So which is going to be definitely more than 19 because it says 32. But we can have 19 at most. We cannot have more than that. Now, the remaining 35 students who play football, they may overlap with this 19 or they do not, because in the question we are not asked what is the uh, maximum number of students who play only cricket and table tennis. Okay. So basically, we are going to have these 19 kids who will have both pink as well as red color tokens. So using token distribution, we can very quickly get the answer. If you try to solve this using Venn diagram, it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult, very time consuming. Most likely you won't be able to solve. If you start using union intersection, that is also going to make it extremely difficult. So when you have such questions where not a lot of information is given to you, you should always prefer using token distribution method. Okay. So let's go to the next question now. Give this a try. Excuse me. Change this to 120. So this is basically a question based on averages. So average marks for the entire class is 48. And the students who passed, they got 56. And the students who failed, they got 32. So the ratio of the number of students who pass and fail that can be calculated using alligation, which is a faster, simpler approach. So the difference between 56 and 48, which is going to be 8, is to be written below failed students column. And the difference between 32 and 48 is going to be 16, which should be written below 56 passwala column. So basically, the number of students they are going to be divided, they are supposed to be divided in the ratio 2 is to 1. So we need to divide 120 in the ratio 2 is to 1. So the number of students who have passed is going to be 2/3 of 120, and the number of students who failed are going to be 1/3 of 120. So 2/3 of 120 is going to be 80, and 1/3 of 120 is going to be 40. Since we are asked how many students pass the exam, so pass exam is the first column, which results in 80. So that gives us B as the answer. The other approach is using weighted average, which might be little calculative or lengthy, but it's completely up to your choice. So I'll write down that equation as well. So let's say the number of students who passed are P and they obtained 56 marks each. The number of students who failed are F and the marks that they obtained are 32. The sum of the students, sum of the marks by these students should be equal to 120 into 48, where also total number of students who passed and failed is 120. So what we can do here is we can take out 32 common, 32 into P, and then we'll be left with 24 into P, and then 32 into F is equal to 120 into 48. So basically these two can be clubbed together and written as P plus F, which is going to give us nothing but 120. So instead of P plus F, we can write 120. So we will have 24 into P is equal to 120. 120 into 32 will move to the right hand side and it will subtract. So this is going to give us 120 into 16. So now 24 is 120 is 5 times of 24. So we can get rid of that. So P is going to be 5 into 16, which is 80, which is nothing but the number of students who passed the exam. That's exactly what we needed. Okay, let's look at the next question. Looks like you guys need some more time. So what I will do is I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes. Looks very simple, straightforward question. It's going to use principles of counting. Anyone? 24? Okay. Let's see. So I called a customer service for my broadband connection. I had two options, English or Hindi, to choose from. So basically, initially, we are going to have English or Hindi. Having chosen the language, there were four options for selecting the service. So each of English and Hindi, they're going to have four options each. Now, each of these four options uh, had three options to choose for final service. So each of these, they're going to have three further options to choose from. So this is the call that we get. So basically, if I call the customer service, how many options are there? How many options are available to choose the required service? So basically, we have two language options, and then we have four options for selecting the service, and then three more options to choose the final service. So straightforward, 2 into 4 into 3, which is going to give us 24. Right? Now, good luck. Yeah. Let's look at now DI. So it's a 3-question based set. So there are three stretches in a race, X, Y, and Z, each of which is 4 kilometers long. The following table shows the mode of coverage of each stretch and the maximum and the minimum speeds of covering them. Each stretch is covered at a constant speed. The previous record in the completing the race was 22 minutes. So the stretch length is not given. It's just that what is the mode of the coverage and what's the minimum speed of that particular mode of travel and the maximum speed. So we can see that car can go from 50 to 75, motorcycle 40 to 50, and bicycle from 20 to 25. So Rahul traveled at the minimum speed by bicycle as well as motorcycle. If he did not break the previous record, his speed over stretch Z cannot exceed. We are told that each of these stretches is 4 kilometers long. So we know the stretch length as well. Let's see. What's the answer for this? Anyone? Anyone? No? No one? So it is given that Rahul traveled at the minimum speed by bicycle as well as motorcycle. So that's stretch X, right? So which is a 4 kilometer stretch where he travels at the speed of 20 kilometers per hour. That's the minimum speed. So he is going to take 20 minutes here. Sorry, 4 kilometers long. Sorry, I should have written 4 kilometer. So he must have taken 1/5 of an hour, right? 1/5 of an hour is going to be 12 minutes. Now, if you look at motorcycle, which is stretch Y, that is again 4 kilometers long. His speed is 40 kilometer per hour. So he's going to take 1/10 of an hour, which is going to give us 6 minutes. So this is going to be 18 minutes. Now, the record is for 22 minutes. So if he did not break the previous record, his speed of a stretch cannot exceed. So he has to cover the next 4 kilometers, and the time that he has to take is only 4 minutes now, right? Okay, am I audible? Am I visible? Sorry, got uh, got disconnected for a moment there. Yeah, so we were talking about he has to cover the next 4 kilometers. And let's say he breaks the record, or he is able to get to the record point, as in he is able to cover the last 4 kilometers within 4 minutes. So if somebody covers 4 kilometers within 4 minutes, that would mean that he is able to cover in 60 minutes 60 kilometers, because whatever is the unit for kilometers, those many minutes he is going to take. So if it moves at the speed of 60 minutes is 1 hour, if he moves at the speed of 60 kilometers per hour, he will be not be able to break the record. He will be able to achieve the same time that anybody else should have taken to complete that record, right? So he cannot exceed 60 kilometers per hour for the remaining part of his journey, which is the stretch Z. Okay, the next one. Rahul travels stretch X taking the minimum possible time. So if Rahul has to cover stretch X, which is 4 kilometers, if it takes minimum time, that would mean that he must have moved at the highest possible speed for him. So the time that he's going to cover stretch X is going to be 4 out of 25, this much of an hour. If I want to convert this into minutes, I'll multiply this by 60. So this is going to be 5 into 5 is 25, 5 into 12 is 60, 12 into 4 is 48 upon 5, which is going to be 9.6 minutes. Now, the time taken for him to cover stretch Z is 66 2 by 3. That is 2/3 overall. 66 2 by 3 percentage is 2/3 less than the time taken to travel stretch X. If it took 4 6 by 11 percentage less time to complete the race than the previous record. 4 6 by 11, if we calculate, is 11 into 4, 44 plus 6 is 50. 50 by 11 percentage, it's going to be 50 by 11 percentage is going to be 1 by 22 less time, right? So instead of 22 minutes, he takes 1 minute less. So that's going to be 21 minutes for him. Then find the speed at which he has traveled stretch Y. So what we have to do is he is able to cover the entire XYZ, all the 3 stretches of 4 kilometers each, in an overall of only 21 minutes, out of which 9.6 minutes is already for stretch X. Okay. Now, since distance is same for both these stretches, the time and speed, they are going to be inversely proportional. So if we talk about stretch Y and if I talk about stretch Z, if I take this, if I look at this, he takes his speed for stretch Z is this much less. So for Y, if the speed was 3s, for Z, this speed is going to be S, 2/3 less. That means, so this is speed. So that means the time taken to cover Y and Z, if speed was in the ratio 3:1, the time will be in the ratio 1:3. Because distance covered is same, so time and speed are going to be inversely proportional. Now this 40 overall is going to be the remaining minutes. So 21 minus 9.6, which is going to give us 11.4 minutes. So this is going to give us T is equal to 11.4 divided by 4. So which is basically like saying 57, and then half of 57 is going to be 2.85. So T is 2.85 minutes. That means he must have covered stretch Y in only 2.85 minutes. And he must have covered stretch Z in 3 times of 2.85 minutes, so that the sum of the time will turn out to be 11.4 minutes. Okay, so this is 57 and then 114. Fine. There's no calculation mistake here. Now we have to calculate the speed now at which he has traveled in stretch y. So for stretch y, what we can do is we can pick this. We know that the distance covered is 4 kilometers and the time that he has taken is 2.85 minutes, which when divided by 60 will give us the hours, right? So this is going to be 4 into 60 divided by 2.85, which is basically 240 upon 2.85. So so we have to calculate in terms of minutes. 48 by 5 is 9.6 minutes. So 11.4 minutes more is required. 12 plus 9 is 21. 1 by 12 less, which is like saying 100 by 22, which is like 50 by 11 percentage. That is also fine. This is turning out to be a lot many hours, kilometers per hour. Can he cover the stretch at this speed? Okay, let's do the vice versa. Let's check that one. Let's start. Let's choose the option. So if I look at the first option, the time he's going to take is 4 upon 42. And the next time that he's going to take is going to be, since speed is oh, see, this is the mistake that I did. It was not the speed that was given, but it was the time taken for him to cover was 2/3 less. So that's the mistake done. Still, this is doable. I'll start from scratch. So 4 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 4 kilometers. So it is given that the time taken for him to cover stretch Z is 2/3. So this is 2/3 overall, this entire percentage thing. 2/3 less than the time taken to travel stretch X. So for X, if he has taken certain time, he's going to take 2/3 less time. And if we took 4/6 by 11 percentage, this 4/6 by 11 percentage is nothing but 1 upon 22 less than. So total time taken is 22. So here, the total time taken by him is going to be 21 if 22 is the record. So Rahul's travel stretch X traveling, taking the maximum possible time. So maximum possible time is going to be when he is going to cover at this speed of 20. So he goes slow. So that's 1/5 of an hour. Very silly mistake. So 1/5 of an hour is going to be 12 minutes. Now it is given that time taken for him to cover stretch Z, the third one, is 2/3 less. 1/3 of 12 minutes is 4 minutes. 2/3 less is 8 minutes less. So that means he covers this in 4 minutes only. 12 plus 4 is 16. That means he must have covered stretch Y in the last 5, not last 5, in the remaining 5 minutes. Question asked is find the speed at which he has traveled stretch Y. So for stretch Y, the time taken, speed is going to be distance divided by time, right, for stretch Y. But this time is in minutes. We need to convert this into hours. So this is going to be 4 into 60 divided by 5, which is going to be 5 times 12 is 60. 12 into 4 will result in 48. No, Aditi, Sarthak, we do not have a calculator. So made a silly mistake in reading this stretch X, and the other one was the time taken. So एक statement गलत and the options were not matching. So we have to be very careful. You can see that MICAT questions, they are not difficult. They're either little lengthy, little calculative, or they are very straightforward. So the maximum level of difficulty is going to be, it's going to be little time consuming. That's it. Next, Rahul's overall average speed is 450 by 11 kilometers. His speed over stretch X was 5/12 of his average speed over the stretches Y and Z together. Find his speed over stretch X in kilometers per hour. So overall average speed कैसे निकालते हैं? Total distance, which is 4 plus 4 plus 4, divided by total time. The time taken by him is 4 divided by speed on stretch X. So this is the time he's going to take here, 4 divided by speed on stretch Y. This is the time he's going to take on stretch Y. And it's going to be 4 upon speed in stretch Z, which is going to be time taken by him. This is given as 450 upon 11, right? We are also told that his speed over stretch X was 5/12 of his average speed over the stretches Y and Z. So the average speed over stretches Y and Z is, if it is 12s, then his speed over stretch X is going to be 5s. So what is his going to be speed over stretch X? This is going to be 4 divided by 5s, right? And what is the average speed over Y and Z? So it's going to be 4 plus 4, right? Divided by stretch on Y, sorry, divided by 4 by stretch on Y plus 4 divided by stretch on Z. And this is going to be 12s. Yahan par, let's write this as straight away S, 5s. So X पे speed 5s है, and Y and Z पे it's going to be 12s, right? So if you look at this, if we cross multiply, can we write this as 4 by SY plus 4 by SZ can be written as 8 by 12s? So what we are going to do is, instead of SX, we are going to write 5s. And instead of 4 by SY plus 4 by SZ, which is this entire thing, we are going to write this as 8 by 12s. From here, we'll be able to get the value of S. And once we get the value of S, we can also calculate 5s. So this is going to be 12 divided by 4 by 5s. S is in the denominator. Do remember that. And 8 by 12s. So I'm going to simplify 8 by 12s. They both are multiples of 4. So this is going to be 2 by 3s. And this is given as 450 upon 11. If we take the LCM, this is going to be 12 into 15s comes here, because this is going to be 3 into 5 is 15. So this is 12. And 5 into 3 is 15. So this is going to be 10. And this is going to be 450 upon 11. This is basically 22. So this becomes half. Then this one is 6 times. So from here, we will have S is equal to 450 divided by 6 into 15, which will result in 6 into 15 is 90, right? 450 by 90 is 5. Since we have to calculate over stretch X, we have to calculate 5s, and 5s is going to give us 5 into 5, which is 25. Option C. Right? So little manipulation of the average speed formula. Okay, we cannot solve Sx, Xy directly. We can only replace them together because we do not know what his speed over stretch Y and Z was. But cumulative, we knew what it was because it's given. This fraction was very helpful. We took 12 for the left-hand side and 5 for the right-hand side, and it gave us the answer pretty fast. Okay. Next question. In an election in which there were only two candidates, A and B got 50% of the votes that A got. Had A got 200 votes less, there would have been a tie. How many people cast their votes in all? And all votes polled were valid. So there were not invalid votes, or there were not any number of votes uh, which had nota as the option. Okay. Anyone? You can use options. That's the hint. Nizamuddin, we have got MICAT coming up. You have got MHCET coming up. You have got uh, CMAT coming up. You will also have TISNET. There may be some other exams. For example, for ICFI Business School IBS, you can write IBSAT. Okay. In an election in which there were only two candidates, A and B, B got 50% of the votes that A got. So we have got candidates A and B, and these are the only two candidates. So suppose A got 2V votes, then B got 50% of that. So 50% of 2V, 50% means half of 2V is going to be V, right? So the total number of votes we can see here is going to be 3V. Had A got 200 votes less, so it's saying if had this been 2V minus 200, there would have been a tie. So if A gets 200 less votes, where does that 200 votes go? So that group of 200 votes will go to B, of course. क्योंकि A को नहीं मिल रहा तो B को मिलेगा. Since it's a tie, they are same. So from here, if we solve, we will have V is equal to 400. So the question asked is how many people cast their votes overall? So it's going to be 3 times 400. That is going to result in 1200. Or what you can basically do is once you reach that total number of votes is going to be 3V and V is the number of votes. So of course you cannot have that as fraction. Basically V cannot be 10 by 3, isn't it? So 3V has to be a multiple of 3. The only option which is a multiple of 3 is option C. So you can make it faster if you only solve it to a certain extent. Okay. Some of you may make a mistake by not adding 200 here. So think about it. Total votes are fixed. If A doesn't get 200 more votes, so where will those votes go? The other guy. So if we are going to subtract 200 from A, it should go to B. So अगर वो mistake हो गया तो आपका आंसर गलत आ जाएगा. Right? So if you guys have any question, please feel free to ask right away, which a couple of you have already asked. In case if you realize that you had to ask some question, please make sure that you ask that in the comment. I'll reply. And please do subscribe to the channel, like the video and share it with your friends. Also, good luck everyone, whoever is going to write MICAT-II the coming Saturday, 25th. Okay, do not panic. The paper is going to be relatively easy when it comes to QADI. You just have to be quick, a little fast. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Good night.